Explain to me right now, what did a day in the life look like that junior year in high school when you said, I'm done screwing around. This is serious. I need to make money to prove that I'm not a loser and that's why I'm not going to college. What did a day in the life look like?
Well, I'd wake up, go to school all day till like 2 p.m., and then I would have football practice during the football season. That was brutal. I stopped playing junior year because it was really, really hard to manage it. But when I was playing football, like the problem was it wasn't right after school, so it was at 3. So I'd get off the bus or like back home at 2:30, have to leave instantly. So then it was like 3 to like 6 p.m. practice. I would come home and I would instantly go to UPS. I would pack up all my boxes and go straight to UPS because it closed at like 6:30.
Yeah.
So I had to like pack everything up. Sometimes in the morning before, I would actually pack before I went to school because some days like I would sell like 50 to 100 shoes and I have to pack them up individually. That takes like an hour and a half by yourself. And at this time, I I started hiring employees later into that year, but at the beginning, it was all myself.
Yeah.
So then I would take everything to UPS, and from there it'd probably be like 7, and then from 7 to probably 8, probably doing homework and studying, and then 8 to like 1 a.m. I'd be working on my business, messaging suppliers, reaching out to customers, and literally just making deals happen. I literally had no time for anything else. It was just that, and yeah, it was definitely very overwhelming. Like I'd be at football practice tweaking because I'd be like, there's customers waiting for me. Like I remember specifically one time when I got in like 50 to 60 pairs of Yeezys. They're actually on my Instagram. There's a post, so there's proof of this. The Zion Yeezy, and I paid like $220 each. But the thing is with shoes, it's like the market will be super hot right when it comes out, but if you wait like a week to sell, it'll tank. So like I just got all these pairs in and I was using credit cards. So I barely had enough money to like front it.
Right.
So I was like dealing with trying to sell them and move them as quick as possible. But I would be at practice the whole time, like stressed out, like just thinking about these shoes the whole time. That was like when I really decided to stop playing because I was like, I can't deal with all of it, you know. But
Okay, very, very interesting. So, I mean, based on that, you're working like it's a full day of school. You come home, you go straight to UPS, then you have football practice. You're tweaking at football practice. You get home 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. every single night. You are on your computer working on the business. It doesn't sound like you get much sleep. How sustainable was that? And like, was there a breaking point during that process?
Honestly, honestly, I was very strong through it. Now looking back, I don't know how I did that. It was just like I didn't even think about like it being hard. It was just like it was like a life or death thing because I was literally like, and there was a point where it was even harder. Like it would be summer. I would have been going into my freshman year of college, so like a year and a half ago, that was even harder. But we'll get into that later because that was like the sire grind when I was building the software.
Okay.
But yeah, it was definitely not sustainable, and I don't recommend it. But actually, no. If you're first starting, I highly recommend it because those moments made me like such a better leader, and I learned so much about the business. Like I learned so much even about myself and like what my limits were. But the biggest thing that kind of helped me through it was I did have a lot of friends like that I made online during COVID that, you know, like we're also kind of in the same struggle. So we'd be on calls the whole time, like talking about the new sneaker drops coming out, and everyone else is young. So like that was very important for me because it helped me a lot with like making sure I didn't go crazy. Like there was a point where I actually thought I was going crazy because every kid in my school just didn't understand what I was doing. And they would just be like, what are you talking about? Like no one got it. Like no one. And my parents have no idea. Like, so it was definitely very like overwhelming, like I would say.
Interesting.
But
Okay, so I mean, you're at a young age, you're doing this, you're working your ass off. It sounds like it got a little bit lonely for you.
yeah, definitely.
It did get lonely. So do you like how'd you manage that loneliness? I understand some of it is connecting with people online. How'd you manage that loneliness? And when you look back on it, do you regret that at all? Like not being able to fully live out the high school experience?
No, because honestly, none of those kids like now looking like I would never be friends with those kids today, anyways, because they're just like a completely. I'm sure you know, like at least for me, like the second I talk to somebody for like 5 seconds, I know if they have it or not. Because like you can just tell, like there's a difference in people of like people that are like trying to do things with their life and the people that are just kind of going through the motions. So like honestly, like a lot of the people that went to my school, like I just didn't get along with just because like I knew they weren't like me with the same mentality. And that was why I actually moved to New Jersey, because
Yeah.
all my friends that I made online were from here, and everyone here is more like
Mm.
go go go, like they got it, they're walking with a purpose. I felt like in Michigan a lot of people were just kind of like just trying to get by and like do their thing, which nothing wrong with that, but it just wasn't me. um, but I definitely noticed after high school ended and I moved out, I definitely had like bad social skills, like bad, like I didn't talk to people. Like it was bad. Like like I didn't understand like people like I didn't understand like relationships. I didn't understand like why everyone went to parties. Like I didn't get it. It was like a new experience for me until like I finally set up a lot more systems in my business, and I didn't have to like basically work if I wasn't working. Like sorry, if I wasn't working, the business made no money. And when I switched that to kind of like, okay, the business kind of runs on its own, that was when I had a little more time to like think of other parts of my life. And that was when I realized I was really behind.
Yeah.
But I think if I didn't have that struggle in the beginning, I would have always had that like underlying like thing in my head thinking like, oh, I could have done so much more. But now I know like, no, like I actually did the most. So I'm kind of glad because it just gives me a much more confidence going forward because I'm like, I know what I'm capable of.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Somewhere on the screen should direct you to somewhere else in our channel. But as always, believe foolishly.